from a hard day's work, but excited to be here.
What'd you do? You like shovel dirt or something? What'd you do? I forget.
No, we were leveling a floor. So I was basically like covered head to foot in concrete for about 3 hours of the day.
That's fun.
It was very fun.
Nate2 D2 is in the house. So Nate2 D2 Salem is here. I believe that's Inspiring Christianity. What's up, bro? How's life? Yeah, so bring your questions. We'll literally talk about like apologetics, theology, sports. I don't know. Literally anything. We don't really have a plan for this. Just having a good time.
Something I've been getting into recently is like the application of apologetics and like in evangelism and how we're supposed to go about that wisely. Which is interesting.
Fun stuff. I've been reading about that. I'm trying to think what I've been reading recently. I've been reading Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Augustine's Confessions, the Quran, the Harvest Handbook of Apologetics, and What's So Amazing About Grace. And of course, of it all, the Bible. I've been diving into everything. What have you been reading?
The Bible. I've wanted to start reading The Deliverance of Man, or no, The Deliverance of God. I forget who it's by, but it comes highly recommended from graduates of Duke Seminary. So who knows?
Duke Seminary, dude.
Duke School of Divinity, as the pretentious say. Yeah.
Has a question. Here we go. He says, I'm buying a bunch of books right now, and I have room for one. Oh, wow. One more. That's tough. Any suggestions of good books you would suggest? I just linked a lot of my favorite books. Mere Christianity, always the one to recommend if you never read it, but you've probably read it, knowing you. I know you read a lot of, like, Sam, from what I've seen on Twitter, you read a lot of, like, textual criticism stuff.
Sam, if you want textual criticism, that Deliverance of God book that I recommended is, like, the subtitle is, like, an apocalyptic reading of Romans. And it's not conservative evangelical too. So it's like a whole different perspective than most of the people in Zach's live streams I've noticed have.
Yeah, I've been reading. What I was going to say is, if you want something different, I'd say Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Really good book. Reading through it right now. If you want kind of like more like Christian life. And then, what have I been reading? Radical and Crazy Love. Also kind of in that direction, but a little more on the extreme end. But really good books, challenging books. And then if you want like apologetics, textual criticism stuff, the Harvest Handbook of Apologetics I've been going through right now. Some good stuff. And Carl's just gone.
I'm right here. Don't worry about it. I'm just putting a shirt on that isn't a hoodie because I'm like dying in this heat. And if I turn my AC on, it's just, you're not going to be able to hear anything else.
Dude, we needed some questions. I haven't seen much. I thought like putting last live stream in all caps would be like, whoa, we got to be here. You know, clickbait. But, you know, it is what it is. Salem says, The Deliverance of God is amazing. I started reading it because I was emailed the PDF.
Real? Wait, you got emailed? Wait, you got emailed the PDF? Can I get that PDF? Because I want to read it. I just don't want to spend the $100 that it costs. So can you like send that to me, my dude?
How's he gonna say? What's your email?
Just send it to. I'll put it in the chat.
Dude. He says it's really good.
How do
Ramon
I
the Large is in the house. What's up, Ramon? Welcome to this Q&A. We're just chilling. You can bring your questions about anything, serious questions, fun questions.
Zach, I have no clue how to comment on this. Could you just put my school email in the...
I don't know your school email.
Oh my gosh, never mind. Do you know my personal email?
Yes, Carl at Oelhaf.net.
Can you put that in the chat, please?
Yes.
Because I have no clue how to comment on this.
Are you using StreamYard? Yeah, of course you're using StreamYard. And Salem Carl actually isn't on Twitter. He's kind of like in the dark ages. Because he said, yeah, sure, DM me your email on Twitter. Are you on or off social media right now?
No, I'm on social media right now. I just have a deep-seated repulsion to Twitter. I hate every single part of it. You really couldn't pay me enough to get on Twitter.
And what would you think of Parler? Oh my goodness. He says he's gonna get it to you. There you go. What's this book about? You're talking about?
It's an apocalyptic reading of Romans. The way it was described to me, it makes the case that Romans is out of order, or it's something about that premise, and then just a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm really excited now.
Interesting, dude.
I'm sure I'll be going through it while we're rooming together, so I can give you a better rundown then. But yeah,
nice. Dude, I finally got approved for monetization I told you this on YouTube, I think, like a few days ago, and that was nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought that up.
I got approved for monetization on TikTok like months ago.
You can get monetized on TikTok?
Yeah, dude. It's just called live streaming. People send you money on that.
I feel like the last time we did one of these, I didn't have a TikTok, and now I have like over 1,000 followers on TikTok, which is kind of sad. I really don't like TikTok, but it is what it is.
Trust me, you get what you get.
Okay. What books of the Bible have you been reading as we just chill? Because apparently there's no questions because everything is good in Christendom today.
Romans, 1 Thessalonians, and Isaiah.
Romans, 1 Thessalonians. Isaiah is good, isn't it? I was thinking.
Yeah.
I read Isaiah through paying attention for the first time a month ago, and it was good.
No, the thing that pops out the most is just how prevalent the whole concept of rest is. Like, in returning in rest, you shall be saved. I think that's Isaiah 30. And that just yes. Every single word of that. Yes. Love it. Yeah, my the pastor that I'm interning under he helped edit this book. Oh, well, during his time at Duke, which is quite interesting. So it's gonna be fun to read through.
I gotta read some. I have so much I need to. I literally So Susan Lambo, Slam RN. How's it going, Susan? Welcome to the live stream. Yes.
Her last name is Lambo. That is amazing.
I feel like I got that wrong. That's just what I think. You can tell me if I'm right, Susan. But yeah.
Lambo, like Lamborghini Lambo, that's amazing.
Yeah, my family's just going west to just chill. And not chill. We're just gonna see national parks. I'm trying to figure out what books I want to bring. And if you can't see, you can see me, but in front of this computer, there's 100,000 just clothing and books and all kinds of stuff because I'm I have to pack tonight. And I have a pile of 12 books, and I have to narrow that down to 9 or 10 to figure out what to bring. So the struggle is very real right now.
He's such an unbelievable nerd. He's such a nerd. Oh my gosh. It pains me.
Welcome to the Adherent Apologetics
show
where Carl makes fun of me for being a nerd.
Yeah, and you make fun of me for being 20 years old. Miss me with that booze.
You are a boomer. Do I still have the boomer thing? I didn't fix it yet because the last Q&A video was with Nick Quint. So okay. Sam says, do you guys listen to the New Testament review cast? It's really good, and they go over the review of all the influential New Testament scholarly books. I just started. I subscribed maybe a month ago, so I've listened to 2 or 3 episodes, and I've really liked what I've heard so far. It's really good. yes, but I haven't probably as deep as you have, Salem. Have you, Carl?
No. Straight up no. No, I have not.
This is the balance between like Carl's just like a lot more like pastoral and like emotional and in the good way. And I'm more like
I'm a people person. Zach is a book person. That's the best way to describe it.
That's pretty fair. Micah Cavill, what's up? Micah says, what subject would you most be willing to debate? All right, I'll go first because I'm in the process of scheduling a debate on the existence of God with an atheist. It should be happening in early August is the plan. So that's happening most likely. And then I'm going to debate myself on Calvinism. I just finished my response to Rationality Rules with the Argument for Miracles. It's up for patrons right now, and then it premieres on 2 days from now, or 1 day from now. And so that's done. And now I'm going to debate myself on Calvinism because I want to figure out what's true or not. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. What about you, Carl?
Anything to do with like Catholicism or really anything like that. Mostly, I'd be most willing to debate sanctification. Actually, if the question's most willing to debate, then it would be the deity of Christ. Is definitely the thing I'd be most willing to debate because it's the most important thing to debate. Other than that, I'm not very willing to debate anything else because I'm very high unity. Like I'm a very focused on unity, and all debates are helpful in the right context. It's difficult to keep them within that context. So Christ's deity is the main thing that I'd be willing to debate.
Fair enough. Ramon DeLarge says, Isaiah is really great for messianic prophecy. Yeah, for sure, bro. Susan says, right, like the Packers. Lambeau Field.
Okay,
Susan Lambeau. Oh, right. The Packers. Do not like them.
That's still cool, though.
A great book is Colin Hember's The Book of Acts in the Setting of Hellenistic History. Ooh, that sounds like a good book. I mean...
Zachary, no.
I need to change my Goodreads name because I'm concerned about some stuff. But, like, I have a want-to-read list on Goodreads, and it's over 200 books right now. I just have so much stuff that I want to read, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Yeah. And Carl just makes fun of me, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Struggle is real, bro.
The struggle really do be real, though. Oh.
So what's like? I don't know. I'm just waiting for another question to come up. What's been going on? Like, what are you thinking? Listening to? I don't know. Just give me something.
I don't know. A whole lot of Isaiah. I've been working through Romans a lot recently. The whole idea of life in the Spirit and what it means to actually walk in the Spirit rather than walking in the flesh. The whole, I guess, fight between the two. It's interesting in seeing that in light of the context of Rome and the whole religious aspect of that, with a very dualistic nature to things. It seems. Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, just cool to ponder. The other guy in my house, he is currently wrestling with universalism. From California. He goes to a conservative college, so it's something that me and him have been talking about quite a bit. Most memorable was the whole debate of orthopraxy versus orthodoxy, and which comes first, knowledge or action. It's fascinating. I tend to side with orthodoxy, but that's only when I'm completely incapable of saying they're both equally important. They're both absolutely essential, and one can't exist without the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got what you're saying. All right,
Really?
we got some questions. What? I mean, I'm kind of following you. I'm not like, I'm like following you, but then my mind got distracted because I was thinking of Goodreads, and then I'm like, it's a struggle because I'm like, I was just thinking about it. So like, I'm gonna read the Narnia books, or I want. That's one of the many things I want to read. And I'm just trying to figure out what book I'm supposed to read first. So if anyone's read the Narnia series and knows which book we need to read first, I think it's The Magician's Nephew. But tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's
I've always been start with Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then go from there. I always start with the order in which they were written.
Yeah, so I was looking at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was written first, but then The Magician's Nephew is the first in chronological order. So I think I'm just going to go with The Magician's Nephew. Might as well. It's a short read, so full send. All right, now we got some real questions. What's my biggest problem with Calvinism at this point? From Micah Cavill. That's a good question. So I don't want to say I have a problem with Calvinism. Like it's like, because like when you say you have a problem, it's like I don't like this. It's just I haven't been convinced. So to this point, I mean, so I'll just go through, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna debate the tulip. I'm just gonna go through the tulip, 5 points of contention typically seen, and debate them. Total depravity, I can see. Unconditional election, I have not necessarily with election, but with reprobation, I don't know. I haven't studied enough to really make a conclusion, but it's imagination. But that's going to be an interesting one. I haven't looked at that's. Yeah. Limited atonement, another one that I'm like not sure about. I have to just look into the literature more on it. Irresistible grace, I can get that. Perseverance of the saints, definitely understand that one. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really looking forward to this debating myself, because I'm going to learn a lot more about Calvinism. So yeah. What about you, Carl?
My biggest problem with Calvinism is Calvinists. Honestly, it's not. Calvinism is not the gospel. The gospel exists outside of Calvinism, and Calvinism is a legitimate theological school, but it's not the entirety of the gospel. And as far as I've seen, Calvinists tend to be more focused on Calvinism than sharing the gospel with people. And that's just where my contentions with it goes. That's how far they go. In terms of tulip, like Zach, unconditional election is the main one for me. I am fully there with perseverance of the saints, like absolutely 100% there. But yeah, those are just like 2 of the 5. But
yeah, it's interesting stuff. I do want to say though, I think you're wrong in one sense, because I know there are some Calvinists that are like what you say, but the vast majority of them, the gospel is much more important to them. Like even in our church at home, which is, don't you know, there are people that are Calvinists and you have no idea they're Calvinists because they are so focused on the gospel. And I think that's and you can have a couple bad apples that can be very rude on both sides. So it's definitely not just a Calvinism thing. I'm with
you on that.
I know you think the same thing. It's just the way, communication. What you need to switch your major to. See, all right, Salem's got my back. He says his Goodreads list is over 1,000 books. Let's go, Salem.
No, that just means I need to start making fun of the both of you.
Dude, just saying. Non-boomer, boomer. You're 20. You're old.
Who's the one that Who's the one that spends all their time reading and just sitting in their room? Intellectual crap. That sounds pretty boomerish to me.
Salem says, "What's my Goodreads name? I'd love to give you a friend request. It's just Zachary Seckler. Let me see if I can just send you my profile. I'll put it in the description. I don't even know if I worked on Goodreads. I just use it to keep track of books. But send me a friend request, and if I ever figure out how to accept friend requests, Salem, I would love to be your Goodreads friend. Remote the Lord says, did you guys see that Trinity Radio is having another channel with Jonathan Pritchett on theology and debates between Christians? That sounds interesting. I mean, like I had a debate on. Did you listen? Did you by any chance, Carl, hear the debate I had with Chris Tate and Ross Burns?
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. But like, so they're both reformed. Chris Tate's an annihilationist. Ross Burns is eternal conscious torment. Very good debate. Very argumentative. Like they argued strong. But they showed brotherly love and did it in a very respectful and God honoring way. And I think that's something as Christians we need to realize is debates are good if we do it in a way that honors and glorifies God. So it's kind of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Salem says the only way I can see God being moral under Calvinism is if universalism is true. That said, if universalism is true, that would be pretty dope. Okay. I have some thoughts about this. Do you want to go first or second?
Nope. Go for it.
Okay. So the only way I see God being moral under Calvinism is if universalism is true. I would disagree with that. I can see God being moral if Calvinism is true, even though I'm not a Calvinist, just because of the idea that God's omniscient, God's sovereign, he knows a lot more than my limited mind. So would disagree with that. But I mean, and then that said, if universalism is true, that'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty true if everyone wanted to go to heaven. But I mean, we're all rebellious, and I'm very influenced by the Great Divorce. And I think that the people that go to hell are people that wouldn't want to be in heaven. So I think if universalism was true, I think that wouldn't be loving because God would be forcing people to go to heaven that don't want to go to heaven.
Yeah. And like the whole TikTok thing, I get like an enormously vast spectrum of people tuning in. One of my regulars' names is Lake the Witch, and says Jesus was a witch, and they definitely don't want to go to heaven. So, yeah, I can like that way. I forget this is inverted now. So. Facts, Zachary. Definitely not everyone goes to heaven. Not everyone wants to go to heaven.
I'll look this camera angle for half a second. Nah. It'd be interesting. Logical debate. The John Pritchett host. I can is ha. And we'll why isn't it working? Why can't I control any? There we go. And Mike Cavill says most of those problems with Calvinists were problems with cage stage Calvinists. I think I get what you're saying. Could be lost though.
I have no idea, my dude.
Yeah, I was kind of lost. But if you're joining us for the first time today, we are doing questions about apologetics, theology, or anything else. So feel free to drop your questions as we are caught up again. And also, we are monetized, so we are still looking for the first super chat in the history of Adherent Apologetics. Someone could break history here.
Why are you so cringy?
I really am, though. I really am.
Are y'all following his TikTok?
I hope not.
I'm gonna just put you on blast, Zach. You just walk up. You're welcome. You don't have to follow him on TikTok anymore. That's literally all.
I mean, you're really.
There's a couple of creative ones. There's like one or two like really the ones that I've like genuinely enjoyed, but the vast majority of them I'd understand just looking through Twitter.
I mean, honestly though, you're really not wrong. Like creativity is kind of like not my strength. But I mean,
it's okay.
TikTok's not necessarily about like being really good at dancing or stuff. It's just about knowing how to play the game. And I mean, yeah, you just got to learn how to play the game. You notice how you just saying. So you notice how you have what, like 11,000 followers on TikTok or something?
Almost 12, yeah.
Okay, almost 12. Just got to add the side flex there. You realize that I get more views than you, and I have like 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. If I wanted to make a video that got views, I'd make videos that got views.
And you have done that.
You want to see? Next video I make, we'll get some fat views. I promise you.
What's that mean?
What?
How many views are you talking about here?
If I knew, then I'd be a prophet. But am I a prophet?
I don't know.
No.
Are you?
I just know I'll play the game. I'll play the game. I'll flex. It's just cringy TikTok content. That's cringy TikTok content is what rakes in them views.
I know I have cringy TikTok content, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah. There is a funny comment from Salem.
Probably not going to.
I just haven't been able to put it on screen. I don't have TikTok. Twitter over TikTok. I know Carl's going to disagree with that one.
See, at least TikTok's funny though. They're both the same premise of being trash. Like the whole goal of the app is to be trash, just literal garbage. But at least TikTok does it funny.
I mean, okay. Twitter's better for like everything except humor. Like TikTok has some decent humor on it from time to time, but like the theology on TikTok, pretty bad.
You're not following the right people.
Never see you're a sinner. Always see Jesus loves you from Christians. Which you know is true, but you got to realize the sinner part. But yeah, that's that. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll give you some accounts to follow if you want good theology. You just haven't found the good ones yet.
The struggle is real. That's
just like Twitter, though. Just like Twitter, you got to dig for the gold. Just hopping on, you don't get the good stuff.
Asiel, I hope you pronounced your name, Asiel Guzman. Welcome to Adherent Apologetics. Asiel, I don't think I've ever seen you here before. Hope you're doing well, my friend. He says, hey, what would you say to someone who says that archaeology is the ultimate proof of things and then say that archaeology disproves the Bible? You want to go first or second on this?
I'm going second.
Well, okay, I'll go first. Okay, so first off, saying archaeology is the ultimate proof of things. Well, how do you prove that? First thing that comes off the top of my head. Hearing that you can't prove that. And then you say it says that the archaeology disproves the Bible. That's a very broad claim. That's like if I say Carl is tall, which Carl is tall, but how do you define tall? What does it mean to be tall? Things like that. But all of that aside, that's a very broad claim. Ask them for what they mean. Where's the Bible been disproven by archaeology? I mean, from what I've seen, there's a bunch of sources that show that archaeology actually supports the Bible. Take the destruction of the Sodom and Gomorrah, backed by archaeology. The price of selling a slave in Genesis, backed by archaeology. You can see that Joseph was sold for, I don't remember what exactly it was, and then they go back and they say slaves were sold for that exact amount at that time. Go to the New Testament, the pool of Bathsheba, Bathsheba in John 5, a 5-sided pool. Little do you know, in the 1880s, I just did a TikTok on this, they discovered a pool with 5 sides. So it's a very broad question, and I asked them for specifics because, you know, if I'm going to say, it's like saying, oh, God is dead. Well, what does that mean, God is dead? There's just so many facets, and you can't just make broad statements without evidence to support them.
All I'm going to say is that last year we roomed on the hall. One of the guys on our hall's name was Ariel Guzman.
That's true. I was thinking of that.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add to the question per se because, well, I have a pastoral heart. I don't have a scholarly heart at all.
Well, you know, I will read this question in 1 second. I'm just writing something down because I just thought about it.
Question for you both. Do you have a favorite Christian apologist? And if so,
it's my job to read the questions.
Who would that be?
You just want to take my job?
Do your job.
You want to take my job?
Would you like to do your job? Would you like to do your job?
Are you coming for my job? Are you coming for my job?
Is your job available?
What do you say to that?
I mean, I'm still talking.
Wait, I gotta look this way to look at you.
Huh?
Okay. All right. Jose Martinez.
See, no, Zach. Here's the thing. You can't look straight to the side. You got to look at an angle. All right, because that here just looks dumb. Angle.
I'm gonna actually answer this question from Jose. What's up, Jose? I see Jose everywhere. He says, "Do you have a favorite Christian apologist? If so, who would that be?" It's a good question because there's my favorite Christian apologetics author. Probably gonna go with William Lane Craig. But my favorite Christian apologist in general has got to be Ravi Zacharias, just because of his approach. Like, I mean, obviously Ravi might not have the depths of knowledge in a William Lane Craig in philosophy or Habermas in the resurrection, or you can go on and on about people who have expertise in certain areas. But Ravi's just ability to not just answer a question but answer a questioner, really inspiring. Because I mean, the ultimate purpose of apologetics to non-believers is evangelism. Ravi mastered that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that apologetics for the simple purpose of debating, not useful. Apologetics for the purpose of evangelizing, now that's it. So I'm gonna have to go with Ravi too. I love the guy. I really just love the guy.
Nick Quiet, what is up? It's Nick Quint, actually. I learned that on the debate I hosted. Nick Quint says, "How was my salsa, Carl?"
Nick Quiet. I've been waiting to make. I love it. That's just fun to say. Salsa was fire, yo. I have not had like homemade salsa in so long, and it just tasted healthier than the salt and like chemical loaded like paste crap I've been eating forever. So thank you very much. Yeah, dude, he sent it to me on Facebook Messenger. It was just like, yo, hit this up. I was like, bet. And then, kind of like my whole COVID scare with my my housemate got positive for COVID. So I was like kind of stuck for a hot minute. Couldn't really make the salsa. Made the salsa, and it is. I had to use jalapenos instead of those whatever pepper you said, because there's I don't live in California. We don't have peppers in Ohio.
You know what I'm frustrated about? I introduced you to Nick Quint, and I introduced Nick Quint to Carl, but I didn't get this salsa recipe. Like, that hurts.
Zach, please tell me what you would have done with a salsa recipe.
I've just heard I didn't get it, like. Salem says, "Have you guys read Crime and Punishment? It just given the mail today. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard so many things good about it. I've heard a lot of good about it as well. It's on my Goodreads list, but I have not read it yet."
I, just like everything else, haven't read it.
Funny story. 10th grade Bible class, we read Crazy Love by Francis Chan, and Carl somehow managed to keep 2 of those books from that class in his car for 3 years until he sold his car without ever reading the book. So
I read some of the book. Didn't read all the book, but I read some of the book. Should have read all the book. Probably would have helped me in my walk with God at that point. Definitely would have helped me, but I read some of the book. Don't get me wrong.
Asiel Guzman says, "That's dope, LOL, and yes, very good pronouncing my name. Thanks. I'm glad, my man. I like pronouncing names right. Also, I'm curious. I saw another question. We'll get to your question, Asiel. How did you find it here in apologetics, Asiel? I'm really curious about that because I haven't seen you here before, and I welcome you here." Jose Martinez says, "Have you guys ever had an answered prayer experience?" Yes, but I know Carl's probably got a lot more to say on this than I do, so I'll turn it to Carl.
Okay, so I'll just talk. Just last night, I didn't feel like I felt abandoned by God. You read the passage I always go when I feel like this. The passage that I always use to explain how I feel is Psalm 77, 1-9. You read through that, that's how I felt. So I prayed. I asked God, look, man, I don't feel your love at all, and it would be great if I actually could. And I woke up this morning and just like internal, like fuzzy, happy feeling. I was like, yes, there it is. Praise God. And I know it's the whole like, emotionalism, not like intellectualism. God's an emotional God too. He speaks to us through that as well. So that's just recently, but all the time. every single day.
Amen, brother. Asiel Guzman says, what's a good way to grow in your relationship with God, or how to better study the Bible? That's a good question. Do you want to hit that first, Carl, or second?
Sure. All right. So my favorite way to study the Bible is, first off, get 2 different Bibles. This is an NKJV. I use it as like a reference additional Bible on top of the ESV that I read out of. You want to get into the historical context first. Just starting out, you go on YouTube, look at the Bible Project, watch through their video a couple times on a book before you read it, and then keep rewatching that video as you read through the Bible, as you read through a specific book, just to keep your mind focused on what the book's about. And that helps me a ton. But the reason that I like this Bible is because in the middle, there's 3 columns here. It gives you its text, and then in the middle here are like a whole bunch of references to different passages. So each verse has like 2 or 3 references to different verses throughout the Bible. So as I read through that, I go and I look and I cross-reference those passages to the other passages, and it adds so much to see how coherent the Word of God is, and to see the messages portrayed not just in one way, but in another way, to a different context with the same meaning as well. So that's what speaks to me the most, is seeing God's coherence in the Word through that, and it helps get different messages and different applications to the same passage as well. But definitely get a word for word translation like ESV or KJV, and thought for thought translation like an NLT, NIV, and NKJV, I believe, is sort of considered thought for thought.
I'm pretty sure NJKV is word for word, but I know you're right about the NIV. NLT.
It's word for word, but it's word for word from KJV, I think.
Okay, well,
I haven't looked into it, though. I could be wrong. I could be very
briefly touch on this, Asiel. What I do is I just try to spend an hour every morning just in like reading different passages in the Bible, reading different Christian living books, always making sure I spend time in prayer. Really beneficial, really helps me. There's a lot of good strategies you can use. He says, you followed me on Instagram and I checked out the channel and saw that you were live. Ooh, well, welcome. Did you go like underneath an apologetics name on Instagram, Asiel? I'm trying to think. I don't know. Oh my gosh, life is so confusing. Ramon the Large says, Will and Craig was the apologist to bring me Christ, but I personally like Ravi Zacharias and Braxton Hunter. Both really good people. Braxton, I haven't seen too much of his stuff just because I don't have enough time to watch a lot of YouTube with everything going on. But I've heard really good things about Braxton Hunter, like evangelistic apologetics and stuff. So yeah. Germania says, what's up? What's up, Germania? How's it going?
I saw it.
JMD Apologetics says, you going to follow me on TikTok, Carl?
If you pop up on my For You, if you make good content, I'll follow you on TikTok. I didn't follow Zach for a long time because he made pretty crap content. Then he stepped it up a little bit, and I was like, you know what? He's earned it.
I'm pretty sure you followed me since the beginning. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, maybe I did, but that's just because you're you, and you've earned that. But I don't follow people because they ask. Sorry, John. But that's just my personal
apologetics. You got to support your apologetics brothers in Christ.
And I support you through prayer. Following.
Oh my goodness, Carl.
No, it's only kind of like that. I don't like following accounts where I'm just not gonna watch the content. So I'll check it out.
If Carl keeps if God keeps hardening Carl's heart towards following John on TikTok, I will take Carl's phone and follow you once we get back and room together in like a month and a half.
Yes.
You can, dude. You know it's gonna be so fun to do a Q&A.
Can do that too.
On the same screen. Like we don't have to like do this like split screen stuff. Like we can just like be like.
Yes.
That'll be fun.
And you won't have to go on StreamYard either. You won't have to use those hours. You can just kind of pop open YouTube.
Yeah, but then I can't pop up the comments, and that's really cool. Nick says, I'll send Zach my favorite drink mixer, but he can provide his own salt. That hurts, bro. I should demod you for that.
No, Zach just takes Matthew 5:13 a little bit too seriously. Being the salt of the earth.
I was actually just reading about that today, and like I was reading from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and he talks about like Christians are the salt of the earth, right? And salt's imperishable, right?
That's maybe.
It's yeah. Sure. I read it, and I'm pretty sure it's Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and I never put the two together, but I was like, dude. Grim says, "Do you believe babies go to heaven when they die?" It's a good question.
You want to touch on it first?
I'll touch on it first if you want to.
Go for
it. So this kind of gets into the whole like age of justification thing, age of accountability thing, things like that. On one hand, we're all sinners from the moment of conception. We're all sinners. We deserve God's wrath, God's judgment. But at the end of the day, God is a just God. God is a loving God as well. So I don't think that someone's just gonna. J.P. Moreland says no one just goes to hell because they didn't have enough time to believe. So I don't know. I tend to believe God will save babies, but then there's also that one theory out there that I've heard that's like people who die before the age where they'd be able to choose are people who wouldn't have made the choice to follow Christ, which I have a hard time believing. But I know that from someone who would say no, that they have answers out there. But I'm like, okay, a little bit I can understand where they're coming from. But I tend to believe yes. But I don't know. I'm not God. I know God is just. I know God is loving. I know that we're born sinners. And I think there's ways to reconcile all those things. So kind of my thoughts.
At least my quick take is we're all born with a sinful nature, but I'm not sure if it's biblical to say we're all born sinners. Rather, we're all born with a sinful nature, because in order to be a sinner, you would have had to have sinned. To have a sinful nature, you wouldn't have had to have sinned. So, yeah, I believe I tend to side. I'll side with Zach on basically everything there. I know God to be loving, and I know God to be gracious and kind in every aspect of everything. So I can't see any possible reality where babies go to hell. With a loving God, I can't see any possible reality where babies that would have accepted Christ otherwise, where they would go to hell.
Yeah, same page as Carl. BDS says Dr. Craig is the best. Yes, sir. Zilb says, I'm sending you a copy of Deliverance of God on email right now. Ha! Take it, Carl.
I would have sent it to you if you asked. Ask and you shall receive.
Nick Quint says my salsa was an answer to Carl's prayers.
Facts. Because I need to start eating healthier, so that's actually facts, yo.
Factoid. Romans 5:8, God loves us. Yes, sir. Nick Quint, fun one. Should we teach on textually conspicuous passages? I use all kinds of references here. I would say yes, if we make sure people understand like the circumstances around it. We can, if we kind of say like, hey, the ending of Mark, we don't know if this is actually was a part of the original autographs. It probably, at the ending of Mark, it probably wasn't. But if we frame the context and help people understand, like, and if they understand the ideas of inspiration, inerrancy, authority, things like that, then yes. But I mean, these are tricky passages, so we have to be careful because it's textually suspicious. So yes, with caution and understanding, and you help people understand what's going on here. Why is this a textually suspicious passage? Kind of my thoughts.
Okay, let's look to the example of Jesus. Did he teach things that were easy? Just because they were easy and he wanted more people to be in the building or around him? No, he didn't. people are going to hear, if people are genuinely living for Christ, they're going to hear these verses from either from the church or from unbelievers. And it's going to be a lot better if they hear them from the church and the church acknowledges them and helps to work new believers through these verses, rather than them meeting an atheist or someone that's
Carl.
Yes.
You're missing the question here. Love you, but these are passages that are like probably added into the Bible later. Like there's a good chance, or there is a chance. Not like difficult passages like Jesus saying, like.
Go read First Corinthians 34:35.
I have to check
14,
that one.
34 and 35.
I'm pretty sure that's the passage I was talking with Nick about when we did that show about women in churches and stuff.
Then it probably was.
That's a suspicious passage because Nick was talking about it because of the paragraph break. There's a chance they got added into the scriptures, not necessarily the original text.
Oh, well then, all right. I was completely wrong, but still, yes. If we believe the Bible to be the inerrant word of God, we should be teaching on it anyway.
Well, let's keep going. Obviously, we disagree there. Germania says, "What is the best argument for what argument for God is the best? Which is the worst?" Well, I don't know if I'd be like, "This is the best. This is the worst." Some of my favorite arguments, like arguments that I enjoy, are like forms of the cosmological argument, fine tuning, argument for miracles / near-death experiences, maybe recency bias with talking with Dr. Gary Habermas. And worst, I don't know if I'd say like this is the worst argument because I just haven't studied them all super in depth.
The worst argument for God's existence, I like, without a doubt in my mind, is the argument from religious experience. You're saying I had this religious experience, so God has to be real. Trash. Best argument, whichever argument would speak to the person the most. Whichever argument the Spirit is leading you to use, that's the best for any given situation. Because there's some people that argue. There's some people that are very highly moral, where an argument for morality would speak very well to them. There's some people that are very intellectual and logical, where an argument from design would speak very well to them. It's all about the recipient of the argument.
Okay, Carl, pop off. I see you. Nick Quine says Braxton is legit. He really is. Nick Quint says Carl follows me on TikTok and I post lame crap.
You have a baby, though. That's the difference. Baby is the difference.
So maybe if John had a boy or girl,
yes.
Then maybe.
John, have a kid, and then I'll follow you.
Wow, Carl's criteria really showing through here. John says, I make useful content. He clarifies his content is useful.
You know, says useful content that I don't follow very well. Listen.
Oh, my goodness. Germania. Ooh, cool stuff, Germania. BDS says Matthew 19:14, babies go to heaven. Let's pull this up here. I'm trying to find exactly what he's referring to. I'm just putting it into my computer, and then we'll share the screen for you guys.
19:14.
Okay.
There you go.
Then children were brought to him, the may lay his hands on them, and the disciples rebuked the people. But Jesus said, let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for such belongs the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands on them, and they went away.
Using that as an argument for babies going to heaven is definitely out of context. Mm-hmm. Like, definitely out of context. But cool parallel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I agree with Carl. You can't use this. I wouldn't use this passage to argue all babies go to heaven, but I think you can make a good argument from that based on other factors. Salem says, bro, Next question.
Ha! You didn't
Nick
even
Quinn-
get it. Nerd. The nerd didn't even get the book. Ha! Lame.
Nick Quint said, preach hard passages for sure. Amen, brother. Asiel Guzman says, why is it that most people my age, 18 through 25, I'm 20 by the way, yay, more Gen Z people. Why do you think they adopt a nihilistic worldview or an atheistic one?
Go to the next question, and we can answer, and I'll answer both of them with that.
Oh shoot!
But,
I mean,
yeah.
The only thing I'll say before we get into this is that's kind of like, in a sense, it's the world we grow up in. Where like we went to Carl went to both public school for a while, and we grew up with that's like just assumed to be true. But we'll let Carl tackle this.
So, what are some things the church needs to do better? And our generation accepting a nihilistic and atheistic worldview. They go hand in hand, because what our church does is they constantly wound the already wounded. The church is good at two things: looking pretty and hurting people in the foot. At least that's what we've historically been good at. We're not very good at a lot of other things. Sure, we can hand out food and do a lot of good things with that. But when it comes to people that are genuinely spiritually hurting, historically, we leave them to rot. Something that needs to happen, needs to be better, is, I believe this is something that starts from the top down, with pastors starting to actually care for their people. You look at these mega churches, there's no way that the pastor can genuinely know every single person in that congregation. Everything starts from a relationship. And church should be a relationship. That's the whole basis for church unity. And church unity is if I had to give one thing, church unity is the one thing that we do terribly that we need to do better.
Yeah, I think Carl touched on that really well. The only thing I'll add is mental health. Like, I read a statistic that like 50% of Christians 18 through 29 believe that by like it's like prayer and Bible study alone, I think it was, that they can cure mental illness, and like that's so far from the truth, and that's a failure on the church to be able to educate on those things. So the church definitely needs to work on mental health, and it's, certain churches probably do it well, but overall, no. Digital Hammurabi, Dr. Josh Bowen says, just stop to say hi and have a great show. Let me guys know if you ever want me to come on and discuss Old Testament slavery with you three gentlemen, including GMD. Dr. Josh, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Big shout out to Digital Hammurabi. Dr. Josh is a really cool dude, and maybe one day Dr. Josh will become Christian and join us. Love Dr. Josh though. Awesome guy. I just want to say, I don't know if he's listening anymore, but I really speak highly of the guy, like, because he's just very honest. Like, at least from the interviews I've done with him, he doesn't seem like he has some sort of like agenda that he's trying to force on people. He's just trying to represent what he believes the best he can. So I really like the guy, and yeah, it'd be fun to do sometime. We just did a show a few weeks ago together, and maybe the four of us could do something to be fun.
I'd love to talk about Old Testament slavery. It's something that I was like, there's a loophole in the passages that define how you're supposed to handle slavery. There's a loophole that I've noticed that I haven't seen anyone else talking about, and maybe it's just because like I'm completely misguided, and everyone else has figured that out. But I mean, I'd love to talk with you about that. So yeah.
Not all my views are the same as Carl's. Just saying. Nick Quint says, what's the worst injury you ever had? I broke my nose into a diving pool and shredded my ACL playing. See, baseball is not a fun sport. Worst thing I ever did is I had a grade 2 ankle sprain, so not that bad, playing basketball like in the preseason. But luckily for me, that's the worst I've ever had. What about you, Carl?
I've had 8 concussions.
I should have thought about that. I really should have remembered that.
So, like, I'm mentally just trashed.
You know, I was thinking about it. Like,
I do know.
I played football for 11 years. Never had anything like that happen. And you played it for like 5 or 6 and you had so many concussions. Like, life's just not fair. You know?
No.
Germania says, even though I'm a hardcore atheist, I think the Bible, according to the Bible, babies go to heaven. But predestination folks might disagree. Be interesting to talk with someone who's like researched that topic a lot. But yeah, what's up, Gur? I love seeing atheists joining the show. Yeah, bro, welcome. Roxby says hi. What's up, Roxby in the house? As always, hope you're doing well, Roxby, out in Pacific time, wherever you may be. Dr. Josh, Nick Wines Carl often watches.
I'm going to be an amazing megachurch pastor one day. I speak against megachurches quite a bit, but I'd be an amazing megachurch. Zach tells me all the time that I'd be an amazing prosperity gospel preacher, and he's not wrong at all. If I had no morality, I'd be a millionaire by now.
That's why we keep Carl in the Bible. Asiel Guzman says, I'm glad you guys are doing this, and to know Gen Z still has hope. I mean, mainly because of Jesus and the gospel, because of people like, appreciate it, Asiel. We're doing what we can, but all glory to God. Always give it all to him. He's so good.
We do what we can. He does what we can't.
Germania says, I'd love to hear your thoughts on my video, Free Will and the Satan Problem, but if not, it's all good. I know you're busy. I'm some regards. Well, I appreciate you reaching out, Germania. If you ever want someone to respond to me, that's a very nice way of doing it. I'll try one day to get to it. I know the next thing I'm doing is my debating myself, but I will try to check that out in the future. So yeah, bro, sounds interesting. Glad you're subbed, and I just searched your YouTube channel, and I am just subbed to you. Even though I guess Carl's picky with his sub, so you know.
Yes,
he doesn't represent Christianity is about loving everyone, but apparently Carl doesn't love everyone enough to follow them. So, you know.
Okay.
Benjamin,
I'm just gonna ask you who Jesus followed. Who did Jesus follow?
Good thing you broke up right there.
Who did Jesus follow, Zach?
There's a reason I don't put Q&As on podcasts, because people would be very confused if they couldn't see the body language on some of these questions. Benjamin Bethel says, do you think we can get from revelation from God through reason? Trying to think exactly what you mean, Benjamin. If you could clarify, that would help. But yeah, bro. Interesting question. Roxby says, Carl looks like he'd be an excellent salesman.
Yes.
You got offered a job as a car dealer in a mock interview, right?
Yes, actually, that's a hilarious story. For someone's senior project, we went and did mock interviews, and I interviewed with the owner of a car dealership, and he literally offered me a job as a salesman. He said if we were hiring full-time salesmen, I'd hire you on the spot. I was like, shoot, man, should I drop out and just get my bag?
Germania says Carl doesn't love everyone. See, someone likes my jokes. Someone likes my jokes. All right, guys, we will probably go for like 5-10 more minutes if we have questions, maybe 20. I don't know. It depends. But just so you do know, we are still waiting for the first super chat in Adherent Apologetics history. But I don't like asking for money, so don't feel any pressure. It sounds kind of epic, you know, like whenever you have a first in history, like, doesn't that sound cool?
Okay.
This is where you back me up. It's where you back me up and you're like, Zach, that's really cool. That's such a cool thing, you know?
Zach, you are just such a cool person. Your ideas are just top tier, just amazing ideas all around, every aspect of it.
Thank you.
I top tier. Even though the merch ideas, those are fire. I still gotta actually execute those.
I know.
Getting into Benjamin Bethel's question, actually, if I can just speak now, I think what he's getting at is can we receive revelation from God through reason alone? If this is separate from the grace of God through, like, if it's reason alone without the grace of God, no, you can't. If it's reason alone, if it's just reasoning through the Word of God along with the grace of God, absolutely. You don't need an emotional experience to receive revelation from God. There are intellectual revelations. Nice. Having fun there, buddy. Well, while he's muted, I'll take this opportunity to say, I don't know, what should I say? I
forgot I was on mute. I forgot I was on mute. Okay, I'm back now. I was just coughing and I didn't want to do anything. I see. We got our first super chat in the history of Adherent Apologetics. Roxby, thank you. You will go in the Hall of Fame of Adherent Apologetics for the first super chat in history. Thank you, Roxby.
$33? Are you kidding me? God, I'm gonna start up a YouTube. I on TikTok, when people want to donate to me on TikTok, I get half of a cent.
Thank you so much, Roxby.
Roxby.
That is so sweet of you. Or very nice of you. I don't know the proper phrasing, but I thank you. Thank you so much, Roxby. When I was joking about a super chat, I was like, if someone could send $2, that'd be kind of epic. But I mean, you know, this might not just be the first super chat in Adherent Apologetics history, but this also might be the greatest super chat in Adherent Apologetics history. I guess time will tell.
Yes, that's kind of how firsts work, buddy.
Big shout out to Roxby, not only for the super chat, but she helps so much with Adherent Apologetics. So with sending questions for debates and all that stuff, Roxby's always coming in clutch. What were you going to say?
Roxby, congratulations on the very worst donation in Adherent Apologetics history. Good job.
Oh, why? Because it's the first one?
Yes.
You're really going to be that guy?
You said it was the greatest.
I do that with my grandparents, all those, because on my dad's side, it's just me and my sister. So I'm like, I'm your least favorite grandparent ever. And they're like, or least favorite grandkid ever, or grandson ever. And they're like, yeah, you know. I mean,
yeah.
Benjamin Bethel says, what I mean by revelation is God revealing himself and people being aware of his existence. Another thought, can you see why atheists don't want to be with God because he allows evil? Okay. Let's break this down. God revealing himself and people being aware of his existence. So he's talking about general revelation. I mean, yeah, general revelation is enough. Romans 1, we all have had a basic sense of knowing who God is. So yes. Can you see why atheists don't want to be with God because he allowed evil? All right, in a general sense, yes, I can see it. Like, I can understand why you can look at that, but I think when you start to really study these things and you start to understand them more, I think eventually understanding evil can lead you to wanting to know God because you understand with evil comes good and with good comes God. In a general sense. Do you have any thoughts, Carl?
No, I can empathize with that, but in terms of like intellectually comprehending it, I can't say that I intellectually comprehend why an atheist wouldn't want to be with God because he allows evil. But emotionally, I can connect with an atheist in saying, yeah, evil freaking sucks, man.
Oh, totally, dude.
Evil freaking sucks.
It's one of those things that, like, whether you're a Christian or an atheist or, like, you know, there's like, it's like, it's just, you just, everyone can relate to the pain of losing someone they care about, or things like that. Big shout out again to Roxby for the super chat. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Appreciate you greatly. Germania. I think YouTube takes half.
That's my boy right there. That is my boy right there. He is about my bag.
You were just talking about how you didn't like this man or this. I think he's a man.
Excuse me, when?
Or maybe I was saying that for you because you don't follow everyone. I don't know. I think I'm putting your words.
Yeah, Disgusting.
BDS God allows good too. Great point to bring up. Benjamin Bethel says, BDS, I love your picture. Dude, that is a high quality photo. Like, I need a quality photo like that in my life one day.
Of the like 40,000 that I've given you, nope, none of them are good enough.
I literally, when we get back together for college, we're getting a good photo taken of me because I need something.
Zach, change that phrasing very quickly.
I need a good photo taken of me. Asiel Guzman says, I think it's a lack of understanding of how holy God is and how much we aren't. But that's on the theological side, not really the apologetic side. That's a good point. That's a really good point. We talk about like how can evil happen to me, things like this. But then you have Jesus who got it a lot worse than most of us have ever had, and Jesus lived a perfect life. Like if anyone deserved to complain about evil, it was Jesus. And Jesus really, for the most part, didn't do that. He fulfilled what he was supposed to do. So yeah, YouTube takes 30%. Thank you, Roxby, for knowing this. I feel like I should know this. Shout out to Roxby.
TikTok takes 50.
See, aren't you sad that you did TikTok ministry instead of YouTube? Like,
yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. Honestly, yeah. Even though money's like not the whole point, but
you always have a friend in it. You always have a friend in here in apologetics. Guys, we are rounding third base for the last live stream for 2 weeks. I have a bunch of premieres scheduled. Hopefully, I'll be joining you guys in those premieres. BDS wants me to update my photo, dude. Germania. All right, maybe take the gur off the forehead, but don't change that photo, dude. I love that photo. Like,
Germania, I can respect the deep fried profile pic. No, the deep fried profile pic, that is a power move and a half, and I can respect it immensely. Trust me on that.
Credit gives credit where credit's due.
So if you feel like you should, yeah, game respect game. I could never pull it off. I'm just saying I could never pull it off. You do. Well done, my guy.
All right, we got another question here that will pop up in like a moment from Benjamin Bethel, and then we'll probably wrap up. I don't know. We're not a super tight ship here, but I do have a lot of packing to do. Because I'm going to be on the road for 2 weeks, and yeah, bro, Cincinnati. How's Cincinnati life treating you?
Cincinnati life is treating me pretty fire, actually. Like, I'm loving it. It's actually like a good city. Sports teams are trash, but good city.
I'm glad to hear. Benjamin Bethel says, okay, building up with that, my question would what God expect of how humans respond to evil? This is why I have a hard time understanding the Christian God, and he seems weird and no disrespectful. Dude, totally respectful. About that, Benjamin. Okay. What God what God... All right, I'm just reading this. Peace out, Germania. Glad to have you here, as always. I'm just trying to understand the question. Okay.
Yeah, I think the way that God expects us to respond to evil is not with more evil, rather it's with good. So in our responding to evil, if we're supposed to respond to evil with good, and God is the ultimate source of good, then evil is meant to be responded to with God driving us closer to him. And while it may seem strange in our minds that evil is supposed to bring us closer to what is good, there is a simple truth in the fact that we wouldn't know good unless we experienced evil. That's the whole point of us having free will. That's the whole beauty of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, is that it's not just knowledge of good, it's not just knowledge of evil, but it's knowledge of both, because one doesn't exist without the other. I hope that somewhat answered.
I'll add one more thing, and this will probably be the last question we'll take. Oh, I should take it off the screen. I'll go to kind of a different direction with Carl. I don't know if this answers your question. But so I don't know if you read the book of Job, Benjamin, but in the book of Job, basically you have a guy, Job, who's a pretty good dude by worldly standards. He's trying to live a godly life. He's very successful, has all the money, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, it all gets stripped away from him. Like, he's literally reduced to nothing. And he questions God. He's like, God, why is this evil happening to me? Why is this isn't fair? I don't understand it. Things like that. That's what Job's saying. And then at the end of the book, towards the end, you get a couple chapters with God's response to Job, and God basically says, Job, I'm God. You have a limited mind. And in one sense, to me, this is the answer to the problem of evil, where we're limited. We can't understand everything. We cannot know everything. But if the Christian God exists, this is an all-knowing, all-loving God, and I think we should be willing to trust him for the answers. I hope that kind of helps you understand a Christian perspective to your question, Benjamin. All right. That's it. We are done. I will see you. I think our next live stream is a Q&A 2 weeks from Wednesday, I want to say. That's it, Carl. I'm tired. You want to do the plugs before we wrap things up? Also plug yourself in case people don't know who you are, because you should follow Carl more than you should follow me.
You should follow God first.
That's fair.
Follow Adherent Apologetics on Twitter, Adherent Apologetics on Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, you kind of can find that. Duh. I wouldn't really follow the TikTok yet. I've still got to teach him how to make good content. Go follow JMD Apologetics because, well, apparently he needs the clout. Don't follow me. I don't know why you wouldn't. It's actually top tier content, but just don't, because I've noticed when I tell people not to, they usually go do it anyway. Kind of like God and the Israelites. Whatever. I say follow the YouTube. Yeah, sure. Money's not important, but Patreon is litty. Go be a Patreon. I don't know what it gets you. It probably doesn't really get you for anything of any sort of value at all, but riches will be great in heaven. And I could turn this into a prosperity gospel preaching, but I won't, because I love God. Other than that, I don't know why there's a whole bunch of random nails in my wall. Literally, I'm just noticing this. It's very strange to me. But alas, my mirror is painted and it swings open. There is an outlet with no actual outlets, and my window is dirty as all heck.
Deuces. And that's enough, Carl. All right, guys, appreciate you all. Shout out to Benjamin Bethel, Germania, BDS, SCL Guzman, everyone who joined us today. And also a super big shout out to Roxby for the first super chat in the history of Adherent Apologetics. I appreciate you greatly. I'll tune into the vocab live stream for hopefully a little bit, but I have to finish mowing because our mower broke down, and I'm at home because college is done for now. Peace out, everyone. Love you all.